Lunsford for your invocation. Today we have as a speaker General Gill Beck. I'm only going to give you a few of the things of what he has been through in his career because they're numerous, so I do apologize for not including them all. But to begin with, Major General Gill Beck Sr. is a long-term federal prosecutor with the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of North Carolina. Prior to joining the Western District, General Beck served as Civil Chief for the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Middle District of North Carolina. Major Beck guided the handling of the office's civil caseload, including representing the United States and federal agencies in federal and state courts. He is a past recipient of the Attorney General's Distinguished Service Award, the North Carolina Bar Association Citizen Legal Team, and General Beck served as the first Army Judge Advocate to command a two-star Army Reserve unit. He also commanded the Army Reserve Legal Command and a joint legal team. He provided legal advice on Iraq and Afghanistan issues in supporting of the surge in Iraq. He also served as executive officer of the Army General's Council supervising Army attorneys throughout the world. General Beck has been awarded the Bronze Star, the Legion of Merit, plus numerous other awards. General Beck received his bachelor's degree from Appalachian State University, summa cum laude, his JD from Duke University of Law, and his master's degree from the U.S. Army War College. Let us welcome General Beck.
Councilman Jackson, I am honored to speak at Weaverville's Veterans Day observation. This is an event that it requires a lot of planning. And as I understand it, Colonel Richard Johnson, Navy Captain James Jimmer Sullivan, Joe Wheeler of the Weaversville Veterans Day Committee organized and planned this event, and I'm sure there are many others that were involved.
I want to be able to hear you. So. Okay.
The observation would not be possible without the Asheville Senior Chorus and their conductor, Chuck Tapp. Thank you very much. And also great appreciation to Reverend Cindy Lunsford and the others that have contributed to this program. Weaverville's Police Department, Weaverville Fire Department, Howard Dusenberry, who will be playing Amazing Grace on the bagpipes, the Community Center personnel, the Public Works Department, supportive town personnel, and all of you who have come out and braved the weather to celebrate our veterans. One of my themes today will not only be celebrating our veterans, but celebrating those who make it possible for our veterans, and that is the family of veterans. Today, November 11th, we celebrate Veterans Day, the day America sets aside to honor millions of heroes, our veterans who defend our country and preserve our peace. This Veteran Days offers more reason than ever to celebrate our veterans. Veterans Day was originally called Armistice Day. It was first celebrated in 1919, the year our country commemorated the armistice ending a war that was to have ended all wars, World War I. I recall growing up in Lenoir and hearing about World War I veterans who were at the VA Medical Center in Otene in East Asheville. I was told that many of them suffered from being exposed to mustard gas in Germany, and that 40 years later, they were still disabled, requiring hospitalization. I tried to imagine what it was like to spend all of those years in the hospital. with no hope of leaving. And that's part of what being a veteran is. I had the privilege of commanding the 81st Regional Support Command, which is now the 81st Division, which was formerly the 81st Division. Over 100 years ago, young men throughout this area of Western North Carolina served in the 81st Division in France in World War I. In fact, in Asheville, there is a road that is dedicated to the 81st Division and its soldiers. My wife and I, Mary Jo, travel that road regularly. Those soldiers were referred to as wildcats. They left the mountains of North Carolina, went to Fort Jackson, where they trained along Wildcat Creek, which, according to historical accounts, still had wildcats, probably bobcats, roaming the area. These mountain soldiers went to France and saw the unit patches of the French army and started placing the 81st unit patch on their uniform. The commanding general, General John Blackjack Pershing, found out about it and ordered that they be removed. The 81st commander, Major General Charles Bailey, told General Pershing that it was important to his men and instilled unit pride. General Pershing responded, okay, they can wear the unit patch, but they better earn it. And the mountain boys from this area, they just did that. As part of the American First Army in the Meuse Argonne offensive, they attacked German soldiers up until 11 o'clock on November 11th, 1918. On that last day of World War I, the 81st Division, replete with Western North Carolina soldiers, sustained 461 casualties. The 81st Unit Patch was the first in the Army and the predecessor to famed patches such as the Big Red 1 of the 1st Infantry Division, the Double A of the 82nd Airborne Division, and many others. I see that there are a lot of members of the audience from Navy, from the Air Force, from Marine Corps. I had the privilege of serving our nation in Iraq as part of the Joint Task Force and seeing service members from all of these services. And I cannot tell you how impressed I was and how powerful the impact was left on me of our joint force fighting ability. Each of the services, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and Army, bring certain capabilities that complement other services and make it possible to do things that none of the services could do alone. These joint service soldiers only sought to serve our nation in uniform, and they represent what is best about our nation as they still do selfless service to our nation. I look back with humbleness of having served with those veterans, our American heroes, the mothers, fathers, grandparents, brothers, sisters, spouses who support and made possible our veterans to serve. With me today is my spouse, Mary Jo, who, like so many spouses and family members, support our veterans. I know I owe my wife so much. I know that when I went to Iraq, and later to Guantanamo and then to the Pentagon, it seemed like every time something would happen, the heater would break down, the washing machine would break down. She was working full time, and we had two young boys and an older boy, and the boys would get sick, and all of these things would happen. And so afterwards, trying to recognize, and that's again my theme, is that this celebrating veterans, we're also celebrating veterans' families. So I said to Mary Jo, said, there's no way that I can repay you for all of this. You were doing, when the children were sick, you attended the birthdays, you went to school, you did all these things. There's no way I can repay you. And her response was, just try. Just try. And so I'm still trying. When we think about sacrifice, we think about veterans. It's almost synonymous. To paraphrase General Colin Powell, When confronted by a critic of the United States who spoke of the United States as being imperialistic, General Powell, responded that 29,000 Americans died in the Normandy campaign, and all that America asked was enough ground to bury its dead. When I think about the sacrifice of our soldiers, I think about the severely wounded service members Mary Jo and I saw at Walter Reed Medical Center. These wounded service members had gone to Iraq, Afghanistan, and they were now casualties of war. They were soldiers with limbs amputated, but they had smiles on their face. I'll never forget the young female soldier who had her leg amputated at the hip, and she nevertheless was proud of her service, proud to be a veteran, and looking forward to going forward. These soldiers did not feel sorry for themselves, but were proud to have been privileged. And that's a key thing. You know, as far as veterans, we are privileged to have served our nation. This brings to mind the words of President John F. Kennedy, a Navy veteran himself, who reminds us, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And that's what veterans do, then, now, and in the future. I also reflect on the severely burned soldiers at Brick Army Medical Center in San Antonio, Texas, that Mary Jo and I had the privilege of getting to meet. You can hardly imagine what a severely burned person looks like. In some ways, they look almost human, but in many ways, they are more human because of the courage they displayed and their hope for the future. And despite their burns, you could see that they were proud to be veterans. They were proud to have made a difference and to have served our nation. Because of the sacrifice of our veterans, President Abraham Lincoln established the predecessor of the Department of Veterans Affairs to care for him who shall have borne the battle and for his widow and orphan. We as a society are doing better in taking care of our homeless veterans and those suffering from alcohol and drug addiction or afflicted with mental health problems, but we can do more. And I encourage each of you, and I encourage myself, to look for opportunities to support our veterans. Events such as this remind us of the debt we owe these veterans and can be a spur to action to help them. I am reminded of Sergeant First Class Alwyn Cash, who, while in a Bradley fighting vehicle in Iraq on October 17, 2005, when an improvised explosive device hit the Bradley fighting vehicle and turned it into an inferno. He rescued several of the soldiers. He was a leader. He stepped forward. He did his job, but kept going back time and time to pull his soldiers out of the burning Bradley. He died from that. I spoke with his brother at a ceremony in Florida where we dedicated an Army Reserve Center to Sergeant First Cash. And I asked his brother if he had a chance to talk with Sergeant First Class Cash before he died. And his brother said that he did. And the question he asked his brother was, why did you keep going back into the burning Bradley? Sergeant First Class Cash's response was, I had found Jesus, but I did not know if the men of my unit had, and I wanted to give them a chance to survive and do so. On December 16, 2021, Tamara Cash, Sergeant First Class Cash's wife, accepted from President Biden the Congressional Medal of Honor on behalf of her husband. I would like to end with a reflection on a veteran, a hero among us. He is a graduate of North Buncombe High School, where he played on the tennis team. He has a younger brother who is a fireman here. He has a father who is a teacher at North Buncombe, a mother who has worked for 31 years as a radiological technician at Mission Hospital. I probably didn't get that right, but 31 years at Mission Hospital. He volunteered to serve in our United States Navy. We have the privilege of his junior ROTC commander, Captain Sullivan, in the back of the room, who played a key part in his decision to join our Navy. He served on the USS Kearney as part of the United States Fifth Fleet, deployed to the Red Sea during October 2023. He was a fire controlman. And on October 19th, 2023, when his ship came under attack by Houthi forces in Yemen, this son of Weaverville engaged Houthi missiles, and in his words, I was the missile system supervisor and fired the first missile in response to the rockets that were proceeding towards the ship. And I proceeded to engage 4 more targets that day. It helps when you have your glasses. So sometimes, so kind of botched that up a little bit. The engagement lasted several hours and made news worldwide. According to Commander Jeremy Robertson, the Kearney's commanding officer, crew members like this son of Weaverville made all the difference. We trained to go into harm's way, Commander Robertson said. Our ship's motto is resolute, committed, successful. And on that day, this Weaverville sailor lived up to those words. The Navy Secretary awarded the unit an award, and Weaverville's own received his own award. This is what a veteran is. He is one of us, one of the best of us, who steps forward to answer our nation's call to duty. He does not seek glory or self-gain, but only the opportunity to serve our nation. This veteran is Petty Officer Tyler Robinson of Weaverville. He epitomizes what a veteran is, and he is one of us. He is the son of Chuck and Michelle Robinson and grandmother Shirley. Please stand up, Chuck and Michelle and Shirley. And I'd like all of the members of the audience who have a member, however distant, who is a veteran to also stand up, all the family members. And please join me in a round of applause. So today, when we recognize the veterans of World War I, World War II, Iraq, Afghanistan, Vietnam, in all of our nation's wars, conflicts, Korean War, many that I've not mentioned, every person who served in our uniform has been able to because of their family. Their family has influenced, has helped develop them, has instilled the character in them that they, like Tyler Robinson, can go and serve our nation with great honor. Thank God we have veterans like Tyler and like so many of you in this audience who have supported our veterans. And thank God we have families like the Robinson family that support and allow our veterans to serve. We are, as our national anthem says, the land of the free and the home of the brave. Or as President Reagan said, ours is the land of the free because it is the home of the brave. Today, we celebrate those brave veterans who have served our nation to ensure we can live in a land of freedom. We owe them a sincere debt of gratitude, and as long as we have veterans supported by their families, We will remain the land of the free because we are indeed the home of the brave. Thank you very much.